So I just watched Rambo 3 for like the 100th time, or maybe the 200th time. I'm going to show you some clips from Rambo 3, really brief clips because this is YouTube. But if you want to watch a longer clip, watch my Rambo 3 montage, available at the link down below. It's on my Substack page. I originally put it on my VHX.TV website before I discontinued it, and so now it is available for free, and it's basically a mashup of clips from Rambo 3. And I'm going to talk to you about why you don't see that video, that movie, which I think is a great action film, but it apparently flopped because the Russians pulled out of Afghanistan in the 1989 time period, and I believe the movie maybe possibly came out in 90. So the timing of the movie release and the timing of the Soviet Union pullout was a little different. But the movie is still a decent film, and it shows you, although it plays up Sylvester Stallone being basically the savior to the Afghani people, but it shows you some of the basic history, right? And it humanizes the resistance forces in Afghanistan that defied the Russian occupation. And what's really important for you to understand is that the powers that be, in my opinion, decided amongst themselves, while they will make the movie available if you want to pay for it, you're not going to see it for free. You're not going to just stumble upon it randomly, channel surfing or through autoplay on Netflix or Tubi or Amazon Prime or Vudu, VUDU.com or Hulu. It's just not going to happen, right? Because there's dialogue in that movie that humanizes the victims of war, okay? And I'll show you just a few brief clips.
My name is Masood. You must not judge us before you understand why we are not ready to help. Most of the Afghan people are very strong, and we are determined not to be driven from our land. Our children die of disease, mines, and poison gas, and the women are raped and killed.
Last year in the valley of Legaman, the next valley, 6,000 Afghans were killed. Pregnant women were cut with bayonets and their babies thrown into the fire. What we must do is to stop this killing of our women and children.
But if people were to see this and hear this narration, they might also have that light bulb go off above their head and go, hey, wait a minute, isn't this still happening to the Afghani people? The women being killed, the men being killed, the children being killed. And at least then with Rambo 3, the Russians went in with helicopters and tanks. Now they just use drones in a cowardly manner, while the US acts like it's so superior, both militarily and morally. And that is not the truth. And in some cases, what the US has done, even though the death toll is not in the millions, it still might actually be close to 1 million, even though they have only counted several hundreds of thousands of dead bodies. The Pentagon said years ago that it was not in their policy to count all the dead bodies. And today's day and age on social media, you have people out there, even though social media supposedly pushes back against hate, only against certain groups, and encourages hate towards Afghan migrants and Muslims in general. Okay, so there are people out there, like the people in Archuleta County and Pagosa, that ran Facebook groups that would celebrate the massacre of men, women, and children, acting like the drone attacks were just taking out ISIS. But really, they call anyone ISIS or terrorists who dares to resist an occupation. Okay, answer me a question. Is it fair to call Americans in the future, if they resist China and Russia, is it fair to call them terrorists? Is your answer yes or no? Answer me. Should the American people in the future, if they resist China or Russia or somebody else attacking America and taking over their country, should they also be called terrorists? Yes or no? So what we have here is hypocrisy on steroids. The final thing that I'm going to share with you is that there's an individual who I found to be very funny when he came on the scene. His name is Alex Stein, spelled Stein. Okay, and he is well known for a vaccine rap at City Council down in the South, where he basically ad libs. And this is in regards to the recent health event. Right? He's making a mockery of it. And he has gone around to multiple city councils. And so in his early days, he was very, very funny. And I couldn't wait until his next upload. And he even said that we shouldn't blame all the Muslims. And he even talked about 9/11 truth. But then he got involved with Alex Jones. Then he got involved with Tucker Carlson. Then he got involved with Glenn Beck. And Alex Stein showed that he could be easily co-opted. Then he started to marginalize Muslims as terrorists. He called into the Portland City Council and thanked them for basically being a sanctuary city for terrorists, using a Middle Eastern actor standing in front of a green screen, acting like basically he was in Afghanistan, thanking the mayor of Portland, Oregon, right, for allowing terrorists to exist in Portland. And Portland is not a terrorist stronghold. It's a leftist stronghold. It's an Antifa stronghold. It's not a stronghold for, quote, Middle Eastern terrorists or even refugees, right? So Alex Stein, who's not even from Portland, Oregon, just gets on board the bandwagon of just beat up on Portland for ratings and hits and clicks. And that is sick, right? There's a number of things that he's done on his Blaze TV program, which is owned by Glenn Beck, more than I can actually get into, and a lot of it just makes me sick. So I'm just here to make one point clear. As I said very clearly, if America is invaded by China or Russia, or some don't talk about that, they talk about a civil war, and they talk about the left taking them over and coming after the patriots and putting the patriots in camps. They push those conspiracy theories. So in their minds, they would be in the right for resisting draconian rules and regulations. Do you understand? And so in the case of Alex Stein, he recently played a video of Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, he's quoting Hillary Clinton as if she's a factual source of news, right? He's quoting Hillary Clinton saying that we armed these people, being the Afghani Mujahideen, and they later turned on us. That is the official story that is tied to the official story of September 11th, 2001. Alex Stein used to be somewhat of a 9/11 truther, but more or less into like the conspiracy around the moon and other fringe conspiracy theories. But here you have years and years of people attacking Hillary Clinton for good reason. And yet they're actually going to quote Hillary Clinton as if she's a voice of reason. Hillary Clinton is not a voice of reason to be listened to. Hillary Clinton is there for, in that case, merging the lines, blurring the lines between the Mujahideen and the Taliban. When the reality is, the Afghans had a right to defend their country against the Russians. And most conspiracy theorists don't know a damn thing about the Russian invasion of Afghanistan. And most of them don't give a rat's ass about the 2 to 3 million dead. And some of them are so brainwashed, they will even say, as they've said in past comment sections on my videos, the Russians didn't invade Afghanistan, when in fact they did. That is how brain dead today's average conspiracy theorist is in the West. They don't even know about the Russian invasion of Afghanistan, and they don't even care. So they're hypocrites. And I mean in a serious way, in a bad way. So Alex Stein goes on a rant about basically Osama bin Laden coming from the Mujahideen, when in reality, Osama bin Laden and the Taliban were backed by Pakistan's ISI, which is well known to be connected to the US government's CIA. So yes, the CIA did back the Mujahideen, but that doesn't mean that the Afghan people weren't in the right to defend their country just because the US decided to dabble in their affairs. I also will have you know that the United States and Russia may have even had a backdoor agreement in the 70s to use Afghanistan as a staging ground to where they would basically battle each other in Afghanistan using proxies, and they would make a lot of money in the meantime. And perhaps this is exactly what's happening in Ukraine as well. So if you haven't seen Rambo 3, go down to your local library, go to ebay.com, pick up a copy for $9 or $5, or go to Amazon. Okay, because I'm telling you, right? There is no rational reason why today's top streaming video content corporations will show you Rambo 1, Rambo 2, skip Rambo 3, and feature Rambo 4 and 5 all for free. I think that somebody has to be seriously dumbed down and insane in the membrane to not be able to figure this out on their own.
You talk peace and disarmament to the world, and here you are wiping out a race of people.
Every day your war machines lose ground to a bunch of poorly armed, poorly equipped freedom fighters. The fact is that you underestimated your competition. If you'd studied your history, you'd know that these people have never given up to anyone. They'd rather die than be slaves to an invading army. You can't defeat a people like that. We tried. We already had our Vietnam. Now you're going to have yours.